Hello, I am Alphonso McGriff III, and this is Alphonso Speaks, and this is the platform we use for conscious conversation. I want to thank you for hanging out with us. I definitely appreciate it. And we're going to have a good time as usual. When I talk about the conscious conversations experience, the conscious conversation experience is a collaboration and movement that chooses love and enlightenment. A lot of us are not aware that we have to choose at all times how we feel and what we want to do and what's important to us and the movements we make. We have to make those choices. And if the question was asked to us, if you had a choice, would you choose a wonderful life or a terrible life? Most of us say we would choose a wonderful life. However, during our lives, we constantly make decisions and make choices that make our life terrible. So, do we really want a wonderful life? If we want a wonderful life, we have to make choices consistent with having a wonderful life, even when we have some pretty intense challenges going on in our lives. So, the conscious conversation experience is a collaboration and movement that chooses love and enlightenment. I talk about resolution all the time, and when I say resolution, I'm talking about the successful solving of a problem. Many times when we get together and talk, solving problems gets lost to winning the conversation. I am here to help myself and people around the world transform conflict into conscious conversation that leads to understanding, resolution, and enlightenment. So, this is what I do. What is a conscious conversation? A conscious conversation is a verbal interaction where we speak with the desire to understand. We ask questions and share information. We take responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions and control our prejudices and emotions, which, if left unchecked, will disrupt the goal of having a conscious conversation. The strength of a conscious conversation is its ability to inspire rather than manipulate. Ultimately, the conscious conversation experience is a pathway to understanding, resolution, and enlightenment. When we talk about having a conscious conversation, there must be a desire to understand. If there is no desire to understand, there can be no conscious conversation. That's just the way it is. Standard procedure, the law of the land, universal law, the absolute truth, whatever you want to call it. If there is no desire to understand, then there can be no conscious conversation. I always talk about the process associated with becoming more responsible for ourselves. It's a real cool process, and we feel a lot better on the inside and outside. However, there's a warning that comes with that. I've learned that developing myself can lead to unnecessary challenges with insecure people who are intimidated by those who have a sense of self. It's not our problem, but it's one of the consequences or one of the challenges associated with our own personal growth. People who are insecure will be even more insecure and threatened in the presence of those who have a sense of self. So as we continue growing, as I continue growing and evolving, I've learned that insecure people reveal themselves and a lot and are extremely intimidated around people who have a sense of self. And if we're paying attention to the room, they reveal themselves very, very easily. And so then we know how to move and avoid those who have those insecurities. Now, tonight's thought, we never accuse anyone of being wrong, is a challenge for most of us. And it's an extreme challenge because we want to be able to tell people when they are wrong. It's how we were raised, in school and in college. And you can't just say things that are wrong on social media. Well, on social media, people really don't care. They are constantly saying things um, that are wrong without having any issues about it at all. So on social media, it's a different story. People um, accuse others of being wrong and say things that are wrong all the time, but just out and out lies. I mean, make big, colorful announcements with serious looking headlines, legitimate looking promotion that people have died, and it's just a lie. So, but in a conscious conversation, when we're having a conscious conversation, we never accuse anyone of being wrong. One of the reasons why is because we only accuse people of being wrong when we're trying to win a conversation and we're trying to be the most right. We are not having a conversation to determine who's right or wrong when we have a conscious conversation. During the conscious conversation experience, since we're not in a traditional classroom, it's okay for the speaker and the listeners to speak freely during a conscious conversation. We want people to be open and speak based on their understanding of things. And we don't need the expert in the room announcing that people are wrong. So we don't do that during the conscious conversation experience. When we feel correct, we also tell others they are wrong. This can lead to very defensive behavior. Rather than learning from one another, we want to win an argument and are no longer involved in what we identify as the conscious conversation experience. We can only learn from where we are. We all bring our personal life histories to conversations. Our lives are our truths because they're our personal experience. They are our personal experiences. We all bring our personal life histories. And like I said, if we genuinely desire to learn from one another during a conscious conversation, we must respect one another's personal life histories, despite any apparent differences. We do not declare a person wrong for any reason, nor do we call people liars during the conscious conversation experience. There is never a desire to win. We speak with the desire to learn from each other, resolve conflicts, and understand as much as we can. So, when we're having a conscious conversation, when we're engaged in the conscious conversation experience, we don't accuse anyone of being wrong. It's not the classroom, and it's okay if we misstate information. So, if I said Christopher Columbus discovered America, and someone else engaging in the conscious conversation experience felt differently, they would say, well, I looked up the information, and based on what I've seen and based on this information, you quote the information and say, well, my understanding is that Christopher Columbus did not discover America. There were some people here, there was land here, and life was going on as usual here before Christopher Columbus arrived. And then the person who feels like Christopher Columbus did discover America, then they can make their case. And they can say, well, my teacher told me in the 6th grade that Christopher Columbus discovered America. And they have a holiday that says Christopher Columbus discovered America. And so both people can make their cases and say, okay, well, that's how you feel about it. Okay, that's fine. And the other person, that's how they feel about it. Okay, that's fine. And anyone listening has the ability to use their senses to make a determination which one makes sense to them. So we don't need to be fighting about who's right or wrong during a conscious conversation or during the conscious conversation experience. Now, I have a question that I want to put on the table tonight. Because, like many people, I was raised in the church as well. And um, there are some questions that I always have. And tonight I have a question. And if anyone has any comments or thoughts about it, I'm on Facebook, Alphonso Speaks, and I'm looking at the comment box. If you have any comments or thoughts about it, I'd like to hear what you have to say. So the question I had for myself one day is, do I think God will improve things for me even though I do not improve my decision making? So can I pray for God to improve things for me? Can I pray for Jesus to improve things for me? Can I quote affirmations for things to improve for me, even though I do not improve my decision making? Is that a possibility for God to power through the fact and make things better for me if I don't improve my decision making? Will Jesus power through for me and make things better for me even if I don't improve my decision making? Will my affirmations power through for me and improve things for me even if I don't improve my decision making? Will my crystals power through for me and make things better for me even if I do not improve my decision making? Now that's the question. That's the question I'm putting on the table. And I really want to know, because the way I hear things and even maybe not understand things correctly, it seems as though God and Jesus and prayer and affirmations and crystals have the power to power through and make things better for us, even if we don't improve our decision making. And I just don't believe that can happen. I know God got a big juice card and Jesus has a big juice card. And affirmations, they really help bring things forth and assist us with manifestation and crystals and all of these things. But will they make things better for me even if I don't improve my decision making? And if that's not true, if they don't make things better for me even if I don't improve my decision making, then what that means is I can't leave it up to God. I can't leave it up to Jesus. I can't leave it up to the affirmations. I can't leave it up to the crystals. I have to participate in this process of improving the quality of me and my situation. And self-respect has a lot to do with that. I don't believe that I can have self-respect and put everything I want right into something else's hands or somebody else's hands. How much self-respect can I have if that's what I'm doing? So, hey, Miss Cheryl Chef. Yeah, thanks for telling me that's a good question. That's just something I want to know. So, I'm going to leave you with that tonight. I'm going to leave you with that question. Do I think God will and can improve things for me, even if I do not improve my decision making? And or Jesus, or scripture, or the Bible, or affirmations, or crystals, or whatever we want to believe in that works for us. Can those things power through and make our lives better if we do not improve our decision making? And if they can't, then that means we have to make some moves, improve our decisions, and contribute to making things better for ourselves. That's all. So you could be doing anything right now in this very moment, and you chose to give me some time in your life, whether it's watching live or watching a recording. I do not take it for granted. I love you all, and I always will. And I will never give up on our people, ever. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and a great weekend. And I shall be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. doing the doggone thing again.